This is the plaintiff, Sean. He says he was hired by the defendant to insulate her attic. She paid him by credit card, then disputed the charges. Well, he and his guys did an excellent job for the defendant. He can't understand why she won't pay him and believes this is nothing but a scam to get a free job. Well, he's not going down without a fight and is suing for every penny of the $1,865 he's owed. This is the defendant, Bernadette McMillan. She says she hired the defendant to get rid of a squirrel and was supposed to be charged $95. When she was presented with a bill for over $2,000, her eyes nearly popped out of her head. Besides, 4 days later, there were squirrels in her attic again. The plaintiff did a lousy job, and she doesn't pay for lousy jobs. She's accused of acting squirrely over a bill. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $200, the amount charged to her credit card.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff was hired to insulate the defendant's attic and got stiffed. But the defendant says the plaintiff was supposed to remove squirrels and gouged her by charging 20 times what he said. It's the case of Attica.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome,
Okay, Sean, you've asked us not to mention your first or last name or your company name, and we'll respect that. You are suing Bernadette McMillan for $1,865, the remaining balance that you say she owes you on a job she agreed to have you do. You are counterclaiming him the $200 you did pay him because, according to you, what he did didn't work. Okay. Sean, what kind of business are you in?
I'm an insulation contractor. We basically...
And how long have you been doing that?
Over a year now.
Okay. How old are you? You look very young.
I'm 31.
Oh, my gosh. Honestly, you look like 16.
I eat good.
All right. Seriously, you've thrown me for a loop. All right. So you've been doing this how long? A year?
A year and a half now, yeah.
Okay. So you responded to an ad, Ms. McMillan, that you saw in what? In a penny saver, in a paper?
Yes, this was the ad that I...
responded to? Go on.
Yes, $95 for attic cleanup. And I highlighted the part that says eliminate all the point of entries for
because
unwanted
you were having
critters.
what problem?
I had squirrels that were coming in at about 4 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
every morning,
Every morning.
like clockwork.
Yeah.
And they were waking me up.
Having a party.
Yes, yes.
How did you know there were squirrels?
They were so loud. I figured it
How did you know there weren't raccoons? You have squirrels where you are, but not raccoons?
It could have been a raccoon. It just seemed like raccoons are so big, so much
Right.
bigger than the squirrels that I figured maybe it was the squirrel, and I see them in the trees.
Quick-footed raccoon. All right. I only say that because I had a problem with raccoons. That's why. But let me see, and I know how maddening it can be. All right. So you call them, and you had this ad. This was your ad?
Yeah, it's a coupon that we sent.
And so it says $95 attic cleanup. What do you clean up?
We basically clean dropping and feces from the attic. It's a process that takes usually 30 minutes.
Right?
But that wasn't the case.
Okay, so you go there for the $95. Somehow you end up agreeing to pay almost $3,000.
Actually, he wanted $3,000.
Yeah, I know.
talked him down to
But
$2,000.
I might say, no, do the $95 job, but you didn't. What was it that required $3,000 instead of this job?
Okay. So when I got there, there was installation, about 6 inches of insulation made of cellulose. So what's required to do in order to eliminate squirrels from getting in is, number one, remove all the insulation, which is not a 45 minutes process.
But how does insulation, I thought if you plugged up the spaces where the critters were coming in through, they'd stop coming in.
Yeah, but you cannot see the spaces before you remove the insulation because it was all over the place.
Oh, so you needed to remove it, see the holes, plug the holes, and then put in new insulation?
And sanitize, because one of the reasons creatures are coming into your attic is because they smell. They mark their territory with, dropping and feces. So we have to sanitize.
But if the insulation's in the way of the hole, how does the critter get in? Through the insulation?
They push it, yeah. It's made, the insulation made of newspaper and some chemical.
Right.
So
when you went up there, could you actually see pushed over insulation?
Yes, I have.
Do you have pictures of it?
Yeah.
Let me see it. So you tell her about that.
Sir, I got you. Right this way.
Sure. That's before and after.
So you tell her about that and that she needs a bigger job, and she says, okay, do it. I can't stand it. I can't sleep. Right? Okay. Come on over here, right here. You.
Sir.
Come on over here.
Right here?
All right. Now, this is a picture of?
So I was educating the defendant about insulation. This made of like newspaper and it's flammable. So one of the reasons we did the job is the fact that she wanted to be safe.
All right, now this is a picture of?
The left one is the one after we vacuum everything.
Okay, and where are the holes that the critters are coming in through? Did you take any pictures of that?
Nope.
Okay.
I wasn't there.
For the job, you just get the contract and then move on to the next person and leave other people to do the job?
Yeah, I have a project manager right here with me, and he did all the job.
Okay.
But we didn't know we were going to be
We know
here.
that the critters are coming in through somewhere because you're hearing them having the party up there.
Yes.
So we do know that. All right, so go ahead and go back to the lectern.
Thank you.
So you agree to the job. Was this in writing? Did you have a written contract or all
Yes,
verbal?
I
Okay,
do
let me
have.
see the written contract. And when you say, well, that insulation's flammable, why would anybody use flammable insulation? Was it used back then?
Well, cellulose is made of newspaper and some chemical. The chemical is supposed to keep the insulation not flammable, but it's good only for 3-4 years. So
who insulates every 3 or 4 years? Nobody does that.
the one
How long
people
is insulation supposed to last?
well, the one people
Like
use
a
today,
lifetime. I don't know.
The one people use today are made of fiberglass and it's not flammable. It usually lasts for 20-30 years.
Yeah. And the ones people used 8 years ago were not? Or the ones that was used in her house? You say you had that insulated how long ago?
Your Honor, that was a complete renovation.
Yeah, but do you know
spaced it.
for a fact
Yes.
that the insulation was put in, 8 years ago?
Not only was the insulation put in 8 years ago, but the defendant bashed the contractor who did it because he claimed, oh, he left the insulation in the bags.
Did you ever tell her that?
I don't remember me saying something like that.
Let me just ask you a question, though. When someone says, oh, this won't be a $95 job, this will be a $3,000 job, if you think that they're shady, or you think that he's lying, or you don't trust what he's saying, or you know that you had it insulated 8 years ago, why don't you get a second opinion? Why do you agree to a contract? And what effect do you think it will have on me as a court of law when you agree to a contract and then after they do it, you say, ha, 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 gotcha, I'm contesting the charges, and American Express then, which is what happened here, sides with their client. I mean, so essentially you have paid nothing more than the $200 deposit, but I can't help but notice you got the $3,000 job and have paid him nothing more than $200 and are now suing to get that back.
I got the job because they are the only game in town, Your Honor.
The what?
They're the only game in town.
But that doesn't matter. The fact is you entered into a contract. Nobody put a gun to your head. Let me see the contract, please.
It's over there. It says
Okay.
schedule invoice.
Okay, just a moment. So the total was $2,065, correct?
Yes.
Okay, not 3,000, 2,065. With a 1-year warranty. All right, so when they leave, when his guys leave, you pay them with your American
I
Express.
paid them.
All right, now they make a mistake and they don't get her signature on the American Express? How does anybody do that? Who does? Stand up, please. How does anybody make that mistake and not get her signature?
Well, we couldn't get the signature because at the time we had just got the iPad and she was going through American Express, so we had to call the office and give them the card information.
That's not why American Express sided with her, even with her signature. If she said the things she's going to say right now in court, American Express would have sided with her, so it really doesn't matter that much. So let's see what happens. They leave, you pay them, and what goes wrong and what goes,
Well,
what
the
makes you
first
dispute
thing
it.
that happened was the next day, the next morning, there were 2 dead squirrels on my front lawn.
But why would they be dead? Because you didn't put any poison out or anything, right?
No.
Right, okay. Maybe they were just dead of sadness at the party.
That's too big of a coincidence. Right under the tree where they would run up and down to get to the top of the house, they were dead. So I'm thinking, okay, well, whatever they did, I guess it worked. 3 or 4 days later, I hear them. That's what it
Inside
sounds.
again.
They're running. Yeah, you can hear it running back and forth. Because
Okay.
my bedroom is upstairs,
Right.
so it's right under the attic, okay?
Right.
So the first time I thought, I can't believe this is happening. I didn't call them. I
Why not?
waited. Because I just couldn't believe it was happening.
I don't
just
care.
couldn't
That's
believe it was
when I would
happening.
call them because I can't believe this is
But I
happening.
call-
That would be an impetus to call them.
I did. I called them. I started calling them on the 14th.
So you waited a week of hearing the squirrels?
No, they just came once. They don't come every single day. Sometimes they'll come every day, and then they'll go away for a week. Sometimes they'll come one day, they'll go away, they'll come
Yeah,
back for
but
2
if you
days.
heard them at all, then that means there's a hole that's not plugged. By definition, they got in. So why wouldn't you
Well,
call? All
I
right,
called-
whatever.
I
You
called
wait a
them on the
week and then you
14th.
call them and what?
I called them on the 14th. I started calling on the 14th. I called on the 18th. I called, I told them the squirrels are back.
You told them in a recorder or speaking to somebody?
I spoke to a person.
Who did
and
you
I
speak
told
to?
them that I don't know.
Do you have a receptionist answering the phones, or?
We have
It
a
was a
secretary
female.
named Cynthia.
Okay,
a
did she
female.
call?
Well, yeah, but she never called about a scroll. She called about a foam that left on her roof. It's the first time I, with all honesty here, that there was a scroll problem. I'm giving 1 year warranty, so it's happened to me before. The client's calling me, and I'm coming sometimes myself, just seal again the holes. And I wouldn't think that someone's going to dispute if the problem
So
in
she
time-
called about what, foam being left where?
on her roof.
And you didn't tell them about the squirrels?
There was no squirrel problem
You
on the
said you
8th.
had the problem on the 7th and called on the 14th.
No, they did the work on the 7th. The foam, the big yellow foam looking like mold was coming out of the front of my house on the 8th. That was the first
So
call.
you called them on the 8th.
And she said, you don't have to be home because I go to work. You don't have to be home. They'll come by,
When
they'll
did you
shave it.
finally call them about the squirrel?
The 14th was the first time I called
And you
about the
talked to
squirrels.
her?
Yes.
And you told her,
The
I heard a
squirrels are
squirrel a
back.
week ago.
Yes. I heard it twice between the 8th and the 14th.
Okay.
I heard it the first time when I did not call them. The second time I heard it, the next day, that's when I called.
Okay, but according to you, the day you came back was the 21st.
But that's for the
100%.
phone.
Okay. How do you know that's the day you came back?
Well, I was there.
No, I know, but how would you remember anything like that? Do you keep records in any way?
Oh, yeah, I have everything on email.
Okay, hand it to me. Show me. the
I
email.
had no idea when
My
they were
question
coming.
to you is, you have a 1-year guarantee. If the problem is that the holes need to be resealed, do you have any record of having contacted them? Because what you tell American Express is, I've called them incessantly and they won't return.
This is my call log from
Wait,
Optimum.
that's something you wrote.
No, this is from Optimum.
Okay, that's what I want.
From the very last time that I called them, which was June the 5th.
But why don't you have them in April when you're saying that you called them
Because they
throughout-
don't go back that far. I couldn't go back that far
How
with
could
the
your phone
record.
records not go back that far? You could
I
do
had
that.
to place a call to Optimum, and they said for $50 we can go back further, and it will take about a week.
All right, hold on 1 second. Let me see the emails. I cleaned her roof. You can close this complaint. That's from him to who?
To my secretary, Cynthia.
Okay. The customer, Bernadette, this is on June 11th, wasn't happy at first because of the foam that was left on her roof. 1 week after we finished the job, I called her and came to clean it. I took some pictures after cleaning. I'll try to find them. I follow up with her a day after to make sure she's happy. She was satisfied. Important, customer paid balance by Amex. This customer was a pain in the blank from the beginning. She also insisted on paying with Amex because they can give her some payment program with no fee. Who are you sending that to?
My secretary, Cynthia.
Okay, so on June 5th, there is an outbound call to 888. Is that you guys?
Yes, that's us.
Okay. That's it? That's the proof you have that you called them to come out and they wouldn't make it good? You don't
That's
have...
that, Your Honor, that is all that Optimum could give me.
Well, no,
from
you just didn't
when-
want to pay the $50. But now let me ask you a
Well, they
question.
wouldn't get-
This
no,
June 5th
it wasn't
call,
that. They couldn't
did you,
get it to
what
me in
happened
time.
with
Sorry, I
that June
can't hear
5th
you.
It would
call?
take a week.
On June 5th, there was a call at 11:27 to 888.
Okay.
Do you know what that was about, that June 5th call?
I don't know. I just want to emphasize something. She can call during a whole year.
I need
didn't
some more.
return my
Show
calls.
me the. I know you need to prove that. Now, what I'd like to see is when you contested the American Express bill. Can I see that?
I contested the charge. I spoke with Victor on 6/6.
Okay.
The
So
day
that's
after,
2 months after you hear the squirrels back. That's when you contest the
Well-
charge. So you actually paid it the month after.
I had every intention of fulfilling my obligation.
Well, what
okay?
made you 2 months later decide that you didn't want to?
So if you hire somebody to do a $95 job and they start to, man, we can turn this into a $3,000 job by doing this and that, would you listen to them or would you say that's a warning sign?
It's a bait and switch.
Would you get rid of them or would you listen?
I mean, if there's a ton of damage, I'd do some, but otherwise I just say no. Next person, please.
Okay, next person, or would you try to still keep them and do the $95 job? Is it a warning sign?
I would say so, yeah. I would ask for someone else to come in and evaluate the job and tell me how much they think it would be.
You are so smart, I'm just going to stop because that's exactly what you should do, going inside the courtroom.
First, I was going to call the Better Business Bureau, Department of Consumer Affairs, whoever would listen. because what they're doing is unconscionable. I mean, they're suckering
See, here's
you
the
in
thing,
here
though.
for
I got to make sure that what they're doing is unconscionable and not what you're doing is unconscionable.
Because
all I need you to prove to me is that they didn't honor the warranty, that you called them repeatedly and they did not come out. You are saying that's what you did. You say, I called them incessantly. These people wouldn't return my calls. They didn't honor their warranty. If they don't honor their warranty, you get your money back. All I ask is prove it. Prove that you called them incessantly and they didn't honor your warranty.
Your Honor, I can't prove
If
to
your
you
only
that I
reason
called them.
for having them do the job and now you don't want to pay is that you called them incessantly and they did not return your phone calls, then what did you think a judge in a court of law was going to ask you to prove? I have a contract. You signed it. You agreed for them to do work. They did the work.
I still have squirrels in the attic.
And if there's a hole that needs plugging, then you just need to prove that they refused to plug the hole. And then you need to prove that you paid somebody $100, $200 to plug the hole. But you don't get to have a free insulation job, just like nobody else in this room gets to have a free insulation job.
Why didn't
so
they
my
contact
verdict
American
is for
Express?
the plaintiff in the amount of $1,865, and on your counterclaim, 0. That's it. That's how it works. People have to come here with proof.
And that's how it works. And what happens after that is you come out here and tell me what your reaction is to the verdict here.
I'm not happy.
Well, you understand why you lost, right?
I lost because I could not get phone records that proved that I called them to complain about the squirrel still being in my attic. Who
It's
knows?
called proof.
There you go. I didn't have it.
All right, so any squirrels in your attic?
Yeah, they're still there.
You got squirrels in the attic right now?
They're still there. Yeah.
Well, what are you going to do about that?
I've got to call somebody else.
All right, right around the corner here. All right, so step on in here, sir. Step in and over here and tell me what's this been like for you here? Hearing this verdict go your way?
Well, I'm happy. I feel like I did my job. I put the insulation. I still don't mind to go back there and help if you need me, even though, that's my job. So I'm happy. I feel like justice has been made.
Even though she didn't like the job you did and didn't pay you, you'd still go back there?
I'll go. I don't mind.
Why?
You know what? Some customer calling me after I'm doing the job and telling me there is still a squirrel. I'm going back there if I need 2 times and do what I need to do.
All right, Harvey.
Okay, well, look, Kurt, the customer was wrong here, but if you have a legitimate claim against a contractor, a lot of states have something called a contractor's licensing board, and they can actually investigate if there's really a serious gripe, and sometimes they can actually solve your problem short of going to court.